All right, abusia mi cha na mi sanso mo akwa bebe channel so had so aye be media GH. Na ye your former Ashanti original chairman for the NPP. Ye papa Bernard Ntibosiakon, popularly known as chairman wound to me. Abusia aba beto dwa say papa yi atumi akofa form. Yes. Afa form e de ama chairman wound to me say na be ya obetumi a race for the national chairmanship race no eba NPP na abusia sansem we ya che se eba ye no ama nimdifo bi aba bonten no mo so nsem o mo kan ina ne se adan na say NPP party no ema ho ekwan se obi a oda prison ejele ni 20 years in prison na yesan ama no kwan se otumi efa form e contest na abusuafo eyade a NPP chairman wontumi ni campaign team members abusuama babonten omo aba bedi nkomo abie ensem ani na omo nsem omo eka ina ne se chairman wontumi ne form na wakwakofa no enye ordinary Ghanaian na be decide ama chairman wontumi na party no the constitution and be decide the ama chairman wontumi so betumi akọ for chairmanship race no anase ontumi enko abusa we de ma mekasa wa me ma mekasa enye 20% ya yeko na yetie ensem no mu ye yes ebia na ensem na meka no abusa me hu ensem ni ka 20% ya yeko na yetie na yetumi eche ya adwen ha eda so aye be media je chebe se wa se ene de ka wani channel so ni de no go kwan so abusa be se wa so be subscribe e de ama notification bell so for podcast update aha eda so aye be media je ya da
the campaign team the former Ashanti regional chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Chairman Wuntumi. Omaba Bontia Bekasa, yes, Enra, and Omo Ekopiemu, NPP Party, headquarters, Ekofa forms, Edema Chairman Wuntumi to contest for the upcoming national election. So for Bekoso Ewamono Kunim. Nano, and I so for some we the Ebetu Janacha says, you know, Ghana for a Kamwa and before training Serenia Bassam, citing NPP constitution, it said, will be that prisoner has sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. Now, Utimisama Hong Kong is uncover forms there. That there needs to be answers to certain things. Nano, and the campaign team, the match Chairman to me about on Chabas to record straight. Say, Chairman to me pick out our packet forms, you know. It is not for the ordinary Ghanaian to decide. It is not for the members of the NPP to decide. Say, obetimi akwa na wontimi nkoye so wakopeke for. See ano it lies in or say the vetting committee that is according to a company na kasa or say it lies in mpanifo no say omo ne be decide say aso ye hwehwe nkratam hwehwe nneoma mu nyina awie a ebia we ma contest enye yi enti omo ene the last and answer the final say but then so be jina be aka say wontimi ntimi contest the o say there be na sa na nneoma esi etie na bisofo no ana ani omo chechensi ma kire se wontumi ankasa before so be ko prison na ne no I started crying in a campaign I no okopie mu ewo Dr. Alhaji Muhammad Baumia ni office mani ya no enya ntie so pese o contest as national chairman okohia former national chairman of the NPP Fredibly chese ohia at least or man intentions ni na ye no say a person contested as national chairman and say we yesi na say omo etwa ni to adi huna dan so a na che say enye bibia bibi boni and then yes or say according to camp no say o share court proceedings e course na ankasa na even though Wuntumi has been convicted and sentenced to 20 years imprisonment but then CCI ka say you know I idea said NPP amonyoko no yes chairman Wuntumi ni lawyers and then as NPP amonyoko no e kan o say omo nyina no a file appeal court say chairman Wuntumi file appeal court omo hwe ni mu say court no betena say appeals court no e betena say timi aka say again chairman Wuntumi ankasa lawyers as file as file an application a bail application and omo say court no betena say yes the date court no betena say no on the 15th of October that is right after said the judiciary omo vacation and no 15 days after that and naturally said you won't to me bail application, the court on international me aka, naturally be beyond sweating. So almost say you cannot just write Chairman to me off, say a sentence, and what if the table stand? Nina, you cannot decide. And so, young said the leadership of the party, and I said, in Penifua, I'm on the corner, you almost only and share Sanyo Manasono. I said, or more the Umbecanono, and about the finance. You more not said the almost the two Jano, young TV, Emma.
Did past Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Ntibosiaku, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, is currently serving a 20-year jail term, and despite that, he is pressing ahead with his bid to become the party's national chairman. His campaign team earlier today picked up the nomination forms on his behalf, keeping his bid alive despite his current incarceration. The development signals his determination to lead the party at the national level and adds another dimension to the contest for the NPP's top leadership position. Join me on Zoom with more on this is the Communications and Media Director of Chairman Wontumi's campaign team, Iradra Coleman. We appreciate your time here on the Pulse. You picked up the forms?
Yes, thank you very much, and good afternoon to you. Yes, indeed, the campaign team have picked up forms on behalf of Chairman Wontumi to continue his bid in the national chairmanship race for the NPP.
But your top man that you have selected for the job, unfortunately, is incarcerated. And so how do you plan to ensure he wins the seat despite his absence?
You see, I want us to do something here. I think we need to separate the two issues here. The first is whether Chairman Wontumi is eligible to go through the party's nomination and electoral process. And the second is the question of how a person who is currently incarcerated, just as you asked, is able to participate in the process. Now, those are not necessarily the same. We, as the campaign team, believe that we are not the court and we are not going to prejudge the legal process. What we are saying is that the campaign has submitted the nomination forms. We've picked up the nomination forms because we believe that Chairman Wontumi should be able to have the opportunity to go through the party's established processes. If there is a legal or constitutional impediment to his candidature, we believe that the appropriate party or competent authority would definitely determine that in accordance with the rules. But politically, we believe that his incarceration should automatically not be equated with the end of his political ambitions. So, Chairman, we believe, has a record within the party. He has supporters across the country, and ultimately, it is the delegates who would determine whom they want as their national chairman.
But ultimately,
So
the party's constitution is key, right? And the party's constitution is clear. If you're an ex-convict, you're ineligible to contest the seat. And so why go ahead to purchase forms, knowing fully well that he fails to meet the criteria stated in the party's constitution? Are you going to be challenging the party's constitution? Is that what you're trying to say?
Our decision in picking up the nomination forms was in no way to challenge the party's constitution. Our decision to pick up forms for Chairman Wontumi is just a clear demonstration that Chairman's political journey and his relationship with the grassroots should not be prematurely defined by his current circumstances. So we are responsible to preserve his opportunity to participate in this process, subject, of course, to the rules and decisions of the party. And we have said that. And the applicable legal framework that the party thinks is best. But we do also know that we are not oblivious to the circumstances in which he currently finds himself. But we also believe that incarceration does not by itself erase the political support, his record, experience, and the mandate that he has built over the years. So the delegates ultimately, like I said, have a choice to make. And our responsibility as a campaign is to just ensure that that choice remains available within the rules of the party. And that's all we've done.
But then through the process, he would have to be vetted. And now that
Yes.
he is incarcerated, how do you plan to make him available for the vetting process?
In terms of the vetting, we don't want to preempt and take decisions for the vetting committee. The committee knows its mandates, and that decision, we would leave it solely to the vetting committee to determine how and when they want to go about the vetting of our candidate. So for that, we would want to leave it solely to the vetting committee. We don't want to preempt that.
So is it the case that you don't have any other plan apart from picking the forms? Because I'm just preempting that at least you must have a plan on how you plan to go about the vetting process.
In terms of going about the vetting process, we don't determine for the vetting committee on how they apply the processes and how they intend to vet our candidates. We do not take that decision by ourselves. Again, as I said, that decision solely relies on the vetting committee. Our job as the campaign team is to just make sure that the opportunity is there for our candidate. Once the party opens up nomination, every card-bearing member of the party has the right to pick up forms. But the rest of the processes lies solely within the committees that has been set up by the National Campaign Elections Committee or the Constitution, as you rightly said. But we do not want to be in a hurry and preempt and make assumptions and conclusions for the vetting committee.
But is it the vetting committee's job to make available a candidate for vetting, or it is the candidate that ought to present himself for vetting? The reason why we're asking this question is because he's behind bars. So should the vetting committee sit today, how would you get your client or your candidate before the committee to be vetted for the position that you feel is best suited to fill?
The vetting committee do have an important institutional responsibility, and we respect their process. Yes, their role is to vet candidates against the party's rules and make sure that the appropriate determination is made. Our role as a campaign is different. We are responsible for presenting the candidate to the delegate. Yes, explaining his record and all that. We also do understand that Chairman Wuntumi's current circumstances as a political prisoner comes to bear. And therefore, like I said, even though it is the campaign team's mandate to present the candidate to the vetting committee, however, there are certain circumstances surrounding this specific candidate. That is why we have decided that we will do what is within our right, which is present the candidate the best choices in terms of
Roger, I seem to be losing you. You say Chairman Wontumi is a political prisoner, but then there are different cases before the court. One of the cases even pushing for a plea deal. And so how do you plan to convince delegates that he is a man of integrity that can be trusted to lead a party which is in opposition into power?
Can you hear?
I can hear you now, Iradra, loud and clear. Oh dear, I can't hear Iradra. Let's try one more time. Iradra, can you hear me? Okay, we're trying to reconnect our lines to speak to Iradra. If you just tuned in, Chairman Wuntumi's campaign team, they have picked up forms for him to contest the position of national chairman. The controversy now is, indeed, is he eligible to contest for this position based on the party's constitution, and ex-convicts cannot contest, and also because he's incarcerated, we cannot go through the vetting process. There's a lot of controversy about that. How would they ensure his presence for the vetting procedure? Another concern about if he is eligible in the first place to continue